Luminosity, Peru, here is your draft for our semifinals. This is a best of 5.
Peru needs to take Luminosity to the brink if they're going to want to win. Because Luminosity right there, like we said, I think they believe that they're pretty comfortable. Charizard, Latios Band, Suicune, Snorlax on the side of LG, and they get the first pick to kick off our semifinals.
Yeah, I'm curious what they want to pick here. Banning the, Suicune means they're not able to grab it themselves, but the whole plan there was to get Slash on the Ho-Oh.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense. We've seen how powerful this Pokemon is and how good he is on it. Over to the side of Peru, the next 2 picks now up.
Kea and Draken, who have honestly had an amazing tournament, who have been the lifeline for Peru without a doubt. The 2 players that you hear me talk about ad nauseum when I'm talking about Peru, now they're pivoting and letting Anemo get their Leafeon early because honestly, it's a good thing. They're great with it, and it also takes it out of the hands of Trainer and a quick Mamoswine pick.
Yeah, interesting pick right here. I mean, an early defender, obviously you could still hide some of your picks later here, as we have the Mewtwo Y being picked up by Curios and Trainer grabbing the Scyther or Scizor. One thing for sure, they stole that from Peru. This is a Pokemon that they are very at home with. So this is one of those times, Dupsnax, where I think both of us actually probably like this pick because not only is it a decent Pokemon, especially in the hands of a very skilled player like Trainer or Overlord who might be running it, it also is something that they have stolen from their opponents, which is one of the most powerful things you can do in draft.
Yeah, to me, there's actually more value of it not being on the side of Peru than Luminosity actually having it on their team. I think Trainer would rather play any other speedster type character, if I'm being completely honest. But in this situation, they're not hemorrhaging too much value by grabbing it in the place of something else. And now rounding out something that you and I have talked about a little bit today and yesterday is this Lucario.
For me, Lucario has become the I don't have anything else to pick all-rounder Pokemon, and I don't think it's performed particularly well in that spot. Yes, these players are cracked with it. They've been playing it since the game release, so they are very seasoned on this. They can make some big plays. It just doesn't feel particularly amazing in this meta. Now, of course, we have cursed the broadcast by bringing this up at all. It's about to have the best game of the entire tournament and carry the whole thing. And honestly, Doomstacks, I would love to see it because I don't see much out of this Pokemon. Now, on the other side, I'm really interested to see Trainer on Scyther or Scizor, but I have to assume they're going the Scyther variety.
Yeah, my gut tells me Scyther, but the thing that I've keyed in on is Overlord grabbing Buzzwole. Again, incredible weekend, does a great job snatching things up by the ankles like a Leafeon, right? Repositioning, putting it and dragging it away from something like Clefable and putting it into the pocket of the rest of your team to knock it out. Now, what does this do for Peru? It puts so much stress on Draken and Kea to do their job. Fortunately for Peru, they are 2 of the best players out there.
Here we go. The first game of our best of 5 semifinals. Luminosity, your purple team. Peru Unite, your orange team. Let's get this thing underway.
We're taking a look, and we've got 2 Pokemon that do very well early for Luminosity here. Gonna put some work in against Peru, who has 2 Pokemon that kind of struggle in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Mamoswine has its moments, but Armarouge specifically is definitely not your favorite pick early until it ends up evolving here. You can see Slash just continuing to try to get towards that goal zone so that they are able to score and they are able to stack. Up the top path here, and Anemo puts some pressure on. Obviously, that's what you can do with Leafeon, one of the best level 4s in the entire game. But here comes Trainer, and it is the dual wing beat. That's a Scyther.
Yep. Trainer coming up, running cover, and of course forcing Peru Unite to kick back. Anemo there as the Leafeon with the first one from the central to go up top, and Trainer LGC just hiding out, see if they can get a pick here as we have the 850 birds about to pop. Oh, good little shield by Otter to reposition Kea, and they're actually able to get a piece of experience there and evolve.
Yeah, it looked pretty good even for Peru right there, as both teams are just going to move away from this experience in the top and bottom path. Slash looking for another score to continue stacking, not able to make it happen, but Ho-Oh is so unbelievably difficult to take down in a moment like this. Trainer trying to see if they can make a KO happen, but no, they're too far away.
And of course, Overlord putting more pressure on. There's the reposition on Kea. There's the knockout with the E-ball from Otter. A real comfort pick for them here on this Mew. They get knocked out by Anemo, who's rotating back up. See the Razor Leaf shooting back to the Leafeon here. And Overlord just keeping an eye as Curious with the big time over rotate.
Yeah, they gave up a support for a support in a moment like that, and that's fine, I think, for both squads here, as LG has the pick of the litter when it comes to all this experience, sending it on over to Trainer, almost level 7. Slash down here in the bottom path, doing okay just by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, keeping parity with the levels here. Nice inject by Trainer to try and get a knockout. Tempo's gone,
Nice.
Kea's gone, and this goal zone's going to get scored on as Luminosity is just picking up steam.
Yeah, Luminosity is starting to have that snowball roll downhill here as they are picking up big wins. And when you have a Leafeon on the side of one of these squads here, you're expecting that it is going to be out-leveling your opponents, at least putting insane pressure on, but it's down 2 levels to the enemy central area here, which is never where you want Leafeon to be.
Nope, Slash putting pressure, gets almost Ice Fang down, but able to get out here as it's 4v2. Luminosity needs to hold it down with the player advantage. Here comes Trainer to try and balance the score sheet a little bit in terms of personnel. And now it's a 5-player rotation. Peru fully committing, and Overlord looking for a backdoors. Now they know all 5 players are there. We go to big time engage and a quick knockout on Ho-Oh, but we get one back the other way. Tempo's getting pressure put on. They dart through the red dice, and it's Lucario that takes it. And now Mew's running low on HP. They get knocked out. Peru showing signs of life as they're finally able to get some knockouts, and now they just want to get some points in. But the fight from Luminosity is brought right to the doorstep here as Peru finally is able to break parity and get some points in.
I mean,
not quite.
Peru is like really doing well in this fight. They did not have the Unite move advantage at first. We had Trainer move in with that Scyther, but they weren't able to get much done. Wonderful stuff from Peru right back in this game. In fact, taking the level lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Tempo going straight in. I believe that's a close combat Lucario we've got there from them. Gonna sit by this Clefable, get topped off on HP, and Peru, although down on the scoreboard, finds themselves back into the action here with a good scrap.
Yeah, now we have Luminosity deciding how they want to handle this Regieleki with multiple members of Peru looking for a possible fight here. Here comes Trainer right into a close combat, gonna have to peel back, but it looks like Tempo's in some trouble right now. Big time Leafeon Unite move as they push forward and pick up 3!
That was an amazing Emerald 2-step out of that Leafeon, and despite a decent smackdown on Tempo to try to get them away from the rest of the Peru Unite squad, Luminosity is unable to convert, and it's Peru getting the best of it. Now they snag themselves a Regieleki, and they're going to see if they can do something.
You know, they took away this Scyther, but it doesn't seem like Peru minds too much. They might have actually gotten some better picks instead. Here comes the Unite move from Overlord as they move in for a fight.
Wow, 3 back the other way, and the chase continues. Trainer finally feeling this Scyther a little bit, and now Draken is forced to start flopping around and going on a rampage themselves as Trainer goes straight to score, and Slash is going to try and run cover, and they're able to get the quick knockout and more points in.
Look at this here. I mean, LG just keeping the pressure on score-wise. 216 to 33. Even though Peru's had some good fights, LG just continues to take over the map. Level-wise, this is closer than it was earlier in the match. However, Luminosity, 216 points, and they can start pushing towards some of these tier 2s. Peru, on the other hand, at least has some nice scoring opportunities and a lot of experience on their side of the map.
Yeah, Luminosity's taken a lot of, Peru's taken a lot of good fights. However, they've been on Luminosity's goal zones, which means as the players rotate back in, they've been able to stand there and defend it with the support of the goal zones that they have. Luminosity, on the other hand, when they win their fights, they're kind of out in the open, which allows them to collapse on goal zones and get points in. We're starting to score, we're getting attacks in. That's a big Buzzwole Unite right in the middle. Overlord with the carry, 4 players down, dusted instantly off the back of this Scyther, and a nice Overlord Unite move.
Yeah, beautiful stuff here, and in the top path, they're trying to score, but you can see the Mew able to stop it right there. 295 to 33. Unite move to try to take down an ML right here, and look at that with the eject button tech. Otter picks them up. That's how you support support by KO and everyone.
That's shades of the old school. That solar beam, Q up, eject button, get the knockout anyways on the reposition. Luminosity doing a great job all over this map and really snuffing out the flame that Peru Unite tried to start.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, look at the levels here. That Scyther, after those multiple KOs, the huge scoring in the bottom path, is now a level 14 as they are heading, looking for a fight here.
Huge surf reposition. That unfortunately does not convert into anything, but at least slows down Peru a little bit. Instead of having a big time win, they get one knockout and they're kind of bullied back. Draken with the reposition on Slash gets them another knockout. Not that bad of a look considering the situation that they're in at the start.
Yeah, you know, it's not terrible when it comes to the knockouts, but all the while we still have Luminosity scoring. Now they're up by over 200 points as we're a minute out from Rayquaza. We also have Curios able to check the bush right there. Really beautiful surf, and look at the combination from this crew. Just absolutely ripping through Peru. Trainer level 15.
Draken can do nothing but run away. Mammoth Swine is chunky, but not in the face of 5. So they peel back after 3 players have been done and dusted. We got 30 seconds to array. Luminosity in full control.
Yeah, Luminosity controlling this thing way up on the scoreboard as we've talked about. And with a Registeel buff giving them extra damage as we move towards Rayquaza, a level 15 Scyther is devastating for Peru.
Yeah, Otter actually taking a look at their tier 1, just seeing if they can get some vision. Slash checking the front bush. Gonna, again, just try and figure out where Peru is, because the onus is on Peru to make a move.
Yeah, Peru needs to make a move here, but it looks like Luminosity wants to force them into a fight. They're gonna start tapping this with the Buzzwole right here, charging up that muscle gauge, asking them to come in and fight.
Right in, the fight is engaged. Buzzwole Unite is out. Mewtwo wide follow-up, tons of damage down. Rayquaza taken by Luminosity in the blink of an eye, and now Draken's getting shredded here by the players remaining of LG. Ice Fang reposition. The back half scores are starting for Peru to try and get themselves into this. Quick revive there from Slash the Ho-Oh as we are stomping towards the goal zones with at least a shield, question mark? Does Overlord still have theirs? No. Actually, all the shields broken, so a counter push is in the cards here.
Yeah, it's possible they can make a push right here, especially if Luminosity overcommits on this goal zone, but they definitely don't need this. 436 to 233 as we have Peru trying to stop them, but LG just continuing to fight on their tier 2, and they're picking up KO after KO after KO. They do have one shield. It's on Otter.
Yeah, Otter going to go to the middle, maybe pick up some AOS energy here, find their way, and really cement this thing into a game 1 win. As you have Slash getting vision, counting the players on the other side of the map. And Peru, if I were them, I would just start talking about game 2 and what their strategy is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's probably where they are. Of course, they would love to make a push happen here, but they have to score so much while also forcing Luminosity to score nothing at all. Down by over 200 points thanks to that early, strong score lead. Moving towards the goal zone here with 30 seconds left, Duke Snacks.
Yep, we're just going to start A-pressing, using all our abilities, using all our Unite moves. Overlord with another pop there as we went for an Emerald 2-step as well. Leafeon is going to be gone. Tempo getting a knockout, at least on Overlord for now. The Razor Leaf gets pulled back, and the push continues, but is it going to be enough? We're running out of time. 10 seconds left, and it continues. A good little surf reposition. That's 4 players down instantly, and guess what? Clefable can't hang. They're out of here.
Beautiful stuff from Luminosity, and you know, as they said, history just tends to repeat itself here against Peru. It feels like Peru is behind. Luminosity keeps pushing. There's really just no way for them to climb out of that water that Luminosity drags them deep into. A beautiful game from LG, who is looking to move towards your grand finals tomorrow on Championship Sunday.
Let's focus on the positives here for Peru. They had a good kind of early mid-game, right? From like, say, 6 minutes to 4.5. They were doing all right. They found some good fights. They brought that experience parity back, and it really looked like they had a chance. However, Luminosity, Kings of Counterpunch, this is one of them. Yeah. They just lost the fight, stayed on pad, and were able to rally back together, and all of a sudden you find yourself on the side of Peru getting dusted.
Yeah, I mean, Trainer really started to kick it into another gear as the match went on, right? Early on, didn't get a lot done with their Unite move, but as it went on, they hit that level 15, you know, before Rayquaza, just absolutely shredding through Peru. You could tell this was a wonderful, not only counter pick, but a great pick for Trainer who can handle this Pokemon very well.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually see that right there. I believe it was Otter with the E-ball, right?
Looked like
they started the fight in the middle, forced all of Peru to go in, and the only job that Otter had was to hit their Unite move so they can go invis into the smoke and use the E-ball to secure. They did exactly that.
MVP of the game, Trainer, 12 KOs, 70,000 damage. You know, we talk a lot about all of the members of Luminosity. Each one is a bit of a superstar. Trainer, you know, I think Overlord gets a lot of the lion's share of the conversation when it comes to carrying, but Trainer is right there as one of the absolute best carries in the game. Unbelievably good, and you saw how powerful it was to be able to take away a strong pick from the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they might have preferred a different speedster in that position, but the strength of that pick didn't come from what Trainer can do with it, but what they take away from the other team. And of course, Trainer, being no slouch and an absolute all-star himself, had no problem adjusting and using the Scyther to great success in game one. Talk to me about Peru. How can we adjust here, Cowboy?
You know, that's what I wonder, right? Because I do think that Peru, it feels like they have already recognized that they can't beat LG. It feels like every time they run into LG, they feel like this, which leads me to believe they would need to try something that LG has not played against. They would need to play something, not even that's wholly Peru. Maybe that's something they've, you know, tried a few times in a few practices. Maybe they've played it together on ladder and have figured something out. I don't know if the tried and true Peru that absolutely dominates some teams in the UCS can take down LG. Certainly hasn't yet.
Yeah, again, they kind of, I don't want to say cookie cutter in a negative sense, but they're so good at the strategy that they have that it's really hard to peel yourself away when every time you do it, you're like, oh, we're getting second in the world. We're getting, second at this tournament, third at this tournament, finals here. But the thing is the team they can't overcome is the one that is uniquely great against what they try and do.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see the next pick here. We have an early lock-in for the Leafeon and Mamoswine once again. Two powerful picks, obviously. That Leafeon was real slow to get online for Peru. It just felt like they didn't get the value out of it they would have wanted, which would be to, early get in there, tons of damage with Leafeon, put the pressure on at level 4. They just weren't able to make much happen.
Yeah, I mean, right now, everything is the exact same it was from game one. So Peru, they either need to switch up or do a strategy switch up, and we'll see what that actually looks like here. We'll find out in these next two picks. We already have this Armor Rouge selected. Buzzwole is a decent changeup because Buzzwole has been good all weekend, and Overlord now grabbing Lucario back the other way with Mew rounded out by Otter. I'd like to see Lucario do something at this point.
Yeah, same. In fact, I even thought Lucario was all right on the side of Peru, but it just doesn't seem to win games. Now, given how well LG has been playing all day and given how well they play into Peru, I think they could have a pretty wonderful game in front of them. Almost everything the same for both of these squads, but we're switching some things up. Of course, the biggest being the Buzzwole steal from the side of Peru.
Yeah, so we literally just swapped these all-rounders here. Buzzwole for Peru, Luminosity on Lucario. Is that going to be enough? Could it be theoretically? We have seen Buzzwole take over some games, Cowboy.
It really does.
So, I mean, maybe that is part of this success. Is Luminosity really that concerned? I don't know. I honestly don't.
I'm not sure. They don't seem like it. I mean, we get to see them, obviously, right below us here on screen. We are looking at the players, and while Peru is very locked in, ready for this next match, they know they have a tough game in front of them. It's all smiles on the side of Luminosity. I don't think there's another opponent they would rather have in semifinals, honestly.
I think we got a nice view of Team Skull, I believe, is who that is, from the Alola region. Is that correct?
You know what? I'm going to take your word for it. I didn't ask.
Listen, if I didn't ask, I could have said that with all the confidence in the world. I would have been right.
I bet you were right. I'm hearing from production you're wrong about everything.
That was wrong?
Everything you said?
That can't be
all
everything.
show.
All right.
Heading into game number 2 here, Luminosity, your purple team, Peru, your orange team. Down one game right here to LG. The winner of this Doob Snacks makes it to the grand finals tomorrow in the arena for Championship Sunday.
Well, after they win this one, they need another one if you're LG. And if you're Peru, you need to get 3.
The winner of this best of 5 is what
baby.
I mean.
We're going all the way to end out the day. Slash quickly getting some points in. then why not? Curios is there, and they're going to see if they can bully this path again. They did a decent job last time, and why flip the script now? I mean, you used the players to your advantage. Is Overlord going to make Lucario work? That's my question.
Yeah, that is a question right here, and it actually looks like Anemo is going to get that early advantage, right? Leafeon amazing at level 4. Lucario needs that level 5. So they were actually able to make something happen right there. Production said nothing.
Right by proxy.
I don't even know what that means.
I was correct by proxy then.
That just means that once again, we're casting production's on break.
Per usual.
Yep.
Per usual. 850 birds about to populate. Curios rolling through, and we've got a 4v4 up top. Good punch by Overlord, immediately eviscerated by Anemo. Slash, half their HP is gone. Dual wing beat creates space, but not allowed to follow up his trainer because of the Razor Leaf.
Really great stuff from Peru, right?
Yeah.
This is what you want to see from Leafeon. You want to be able to get that early advantage. You want to make sure that you can use that to slow your opponents down, and they have. Overlord, however, coming in, trying to make something happen here with the extreme speed. They do pick up a KO on the support.
So we've got a bit of a difference here. Obviously, Overlord using that extreme speed. That's not the direction that Peru Unite went with Lucario. We need to see if that's the difference maker. Otter using those light screens, trying to get away from tempo, and picks up the Bunnelby and just beats you down with the hair.
Yeah, beautiful stuff here. And once again, Leafeon continues to push forward. This is what Peru needs. This is what they were missing from game number 1. If you're picking Leafeon and you're behind, everything has gone horribly wrong. But that is not the case here for game number 2. Leafeon much more in control of that top path, already level 8, which means they have that early Unite move.
Yeah, I mean, outpacing Trainer, right? And Trainer, the other game, again, was ahead in this moment. And you have to wonder, is the strength of Buzzwole what facilitates or keeps from facilitating Anemo from taking over? And it seems to be kind of the song we're singing here in game 2.
Well, the question is it the strength of Buzzwole or the weakness of Lucario? We won't know until this game is over, as we have the birds here for 720. We have Leafeon deciding when they want to come in, not able to take them back with the Ice Bank. Really nice full heal right there, but they are going to continue this push.
Slash able to pick up a couple berries. Ice Fang reposition. Here comes Trainer. They're trying to get Draken down, popping their Unite move. Scoring in the background is Zainus. Anemo running away. Dual wing beat there. Razor Leaf is down. Tons of power through that Pokemon, and now it's a KO streak of 3 for Anemo.
Yeah, beautiful stuff here from Peru. This is exactly what they need to be doing right now. Overlord moving in, using that extreme speed to make their way through this fight. They're looking to pick up the KO, and they do. Regice getting very low right here, and Slash gets a KO. Regice now going down to Luminosity.
Draken on the backside, Kea there as well. They easily take the basement Reggie because Peru is no longer willing to commit to it. Meanwhile, we do have the Buzzwole working on Reggie Aleki up top. Kea goes down, can't get a berry, despite walking towards it. And now, that might be the turning of the times Luminosity needs, because they have now taken the experience advantage, despite being down 100 on the score.
Yeah, they're down on the scoreboard. They had a rough early game right there, but with Lucario making their way down to this bottom path and picking up the objective, LG is right back in this thing. Overlord with the Unite move. We have a Unite move on Trainer, as well as Mew for the side of Luminosity. Peru, 3 Unites, and we're going to see if they're going to use them in this next fight.
Draken.
Obviously the Pillars one. Yeah.
Draken just turned the wrong corner there. 3 players waiting for him. Now it's a 3v2. Kea needs to pick up Zainus. Zainus needs to run away and try to get some spacing here as they're going straight for them, putting the pressure on. Nice Moonlight out of Clefable, going to top off Zainus a little bit, and it's enough to bully out Luminosity, so not a bad defense as Draken is now back in the mix.
Yeah, this was great. I mean, just 2 members of Peru able to hold off that push there from Luminosity. Still up on the scoreboard. Luminosity with only 38 points. Game 2 looking a lot better for Peru.
Absolutely. We're trying to take that contestable farm. Is slashed in the face of 3. Unsuccessful here as we have a big rotation by LG.
Yeah, LG heading to the top path right here, looking to start a fight. Trainer deciding whether or not they want to move in, and it looks like Tempo able to get a good defense right there before going down.
Yeah, I mean, Otter sacrificing themselves to bet space. Kia is trying to get to the team, but now they find out everybody's already knocked out, and Moonlight on a body is not worth anything here as that goal zone is closed out. That score lead has shrunk, and what separates separates these two teams is a merely 8 points.
Yeah, 133-141. Luminosity right back in it after a beautiful push here. Level-wise, they are now starting to outpace Peru. So the early advantage that Peru has shrunk almost entirely, and these two teams are about dead even as Luminosity heads towards Reggie Steele here in the bottom path. Slash trying to zone them out before they move in.
Looks like Overlord might try to drop on top of their heads here. Earthquake engaged by Draken. Attempt doesn't find anybody. Two-step on top of Overlord, but now Trainer gets the follow-up, and they're actually boxing them out on the chase and in the backline. Cannon out of Overlord, and they're looking to E-speed through the team. The gravity is down, which just shuts that down for just a minute, but the rage continues. Buzzwole tries to pop their Unite move, but it's 4 players down, and there's just too much strength in the unit that is Luminosity when they're just collapsing on top of your head.
Yeah, Nemo gonna run away from this here. Otter trying to keep track of them to make sure that they are not able to score, steal some of that experience. Nice play right here. Are we able to pick up the KO though? Yes. They do. Curios now moving in. Might get 2 for the price of 1 right here if they're not careful. The Nemo waiting here in the tall grass, but here comes Trainer to help.
Yeah, exactly what they're trying to do. Just bait, bait, bait. Now, Anemo's in a tough spot here. This is a decent KO for Trainer if they can close the door on it. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. They're pinned in the corner. Two-step doesn't get anybody, and that resource is expended, but it's fine. They'll get it back in time for Ray.
Yeah, they were waiting as long as they could in that moment, right? They were praying they were able to get that Unite move back and maybe pick up a huge KO, but their HP was already too low with 3 members of Luminosity chasing them there. Reggie Alecki is walking towards the side of LG, but they're going to clean this up pretty quickly right here. Level 14 on the Scyther, once again running away with this match. Might be 15 by Rayquaza.
Otter does go down, but something special out of Otter's Mew is the way that they rotate through all those different attacks. That big surf creating space so Overlord and Slash could get out of there was pivotal. Yeah, give up Otter. Make sure that you save those two.
Yeah, Otter, I mean, their Mew is so incredible. They kind of created an entire new Mew for players to use, which was support Mew. Able to play in still as potent of a way as a Mew that would be carrying normally. 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Everyone here towards Rayquaza a lot earlier than you might expect. Overlord is trying to see exactly where Peru is.
Okay, Slash kind of caught out, chipped up, knocked up. They're low on HP. Flamethrowers down, but they get knocked out. Tempo repositioned on Overlord. Mewtwo Y Unite. The damage is out. Is the follow-up there? Trainer ripping through them, and Nemo goes down. And now the firepower for Peru has been exhausted.
Yeah, it has, but they're looking towards this Rayquaza. It looks like they want to make a fight happen here, but look at Mewtwo Y just absolutely ruining them with those auto attacks.
Using that Mega Stone at the right time, pressing them down. And of course, that bought enough time for Overlord to get out, who's caught in a Clefable gravity. They're able to walk away and reset. Now they're getting back into the fight, and Peru needs to figure this out.
Yeah, Peru has to figure something out. Rayquaza actually did not end up resetting. The HP is still about at half as Kaya's in some trouble right here. We have Luminosity pushing them forward, but Rayquaza still being chipped enough to not reset on HP. It looks like Peru's trying to find a steal.
Now they're coming back through. Knocked out is the Mewtwo Y, and now they have to push back forward. The Peru took it. Peru took it out from under the nose of Luminosity. Peru has a great opportunity to score, and it's looking good.
It looks amazing for them as only 2 members of LG remain standing after that fight. Beautiful play from Peru right there to constantly chip at Rayquaza. Make sure that it did not leash and regain all of its HP. Once it starts doing that, it's going to be really hard for them to get it low enough. However, keeping it low that entire time allowed them to go for a great race here, which they were able to do. Minutes still on the clock though, Dupes. Next, 2:23, 5:76. 1 member of Peru now down.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically still possible, but it's looking grim here for Luminosity Gaming. They need to fill their pockets up, hopefully grab a couple Unite moves on their way, and they need to start crashing goal pads. I see a Clefable hanging out up top, and the Emerald two-step doesn't get a knockout, but it does force out the Aura Cannon. The pressure's on, and Nemo's taking a ton of damage. Draken, are they going to Earthquake in? They do. They don't get anybody, but at least they're on pad to defend. Tempo steps into the flow, pops their Unite move, looking for a new target. Scyther Unite move back the other way. There is not enough in the tank. There's not enough time left, I don't believe, as we are still cruising through. Clefable back half is going to be just the icing on the cake here for Peru in Game 2.
Now, Peru has not given up yet. They still want to head to those grand finals. They want to prove that they are the best in the world as they take down Luminosity in game number 2.
Talk to me about that Ray fight, Spraggles. What did you see there? How did Peru navigate that?
I loved it. Peru continuously chipped at Ray, making sure the HP never recovered on it, opening up an opportunity for them to move in. They ran in with the Armor Rouge Fire Spin. They threw everything they could at it after Rayquaza was already under half. Really great play. And, as always, Lucario loses.
Yeah. You know, where's Blaziken?
Yeah, great question.
You know, we're talking about if there. I think the theory is Lucario is, on paper, better than Buzzwole early.
Yeah, and way better than Blaziken early.
Totally fair. But if you're going to let a Nemo crash and get a big-time knockout anyways, wouldn't you rather end the game with a Blaziken than Lucario? I don't know, Spraggles. That's why I'm in the booth.
I gotta say, I mean, Trainer looked pretty amazing once again on this Scyther, but things went a lot better for Peru this game. I think their Leafeon was absolutely on point in game number 2, giving them the advantage that they needed, which actually let them keep pace with LG for so long. And here's that moment where Ray still is ended up, getting chipped. They move right in, Armor Rouge with the Fire Spin, making their way in, Buzzwole with the secure, multiple members of Luminosity down.
Yeah, and that's a bit unfortunate, when you're looking at Scyther, when you're looking at Lucario, for them to get in the mix, they have to jump into the middle. So when that's secured and everything's getting chucked at Rayquaza, you become collateral damage if you don't get it. I heard we have an interview with who, no idea. Let's send it out to whomever and whatever is happening.
Take it away, Soph. I got to zoom.
All right, thank you so much, Spraggles. And welcome to these lovely people here to the Analyst Lounge. We have Tiddlywomp, Draco-san, and Steel Agent Kyle. We're going to be having a look at this next draft because the series is 1-1. And I think Tiddlywomp here was very excited about that win, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Big fan of Peru, so really happy to see that win. Especially that Ray fight was really interesting to watch, especially the Ray fight when we were going over it. It was nice to see the damage layering to make sure that they were able to secure it. It forced Luminosity into a scramble. It was really cool. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. I also did because having a best of 5 just makes it so much more exciting, especially you both knowing as casters as well as Draco. I know that you are supporting Luminosity right now, but it's still a best of 5. There's plenty to be played, isn't it?
Yeah, Luminosity is just have been and will always be one of the best teams North America has ever produced. And one thing about Luminosity is they've always been very good at adapting to their opponent. And well, like Overlord was saying during his interview, if history tells itself, they should be on top of this set.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Kyle, do you have any pick in particular that you think this is going to happen, either for Peru or Luminosity?
I mean, Armor Rouge looked really fantastic for Peru in the last match. I like seeing LG utilize it at NAIC. They worked it to perfection. I think if they were to go with it again, I think it works really well into those brawly compositions. But also, we have to say hi to Husky, too.
It's true. She's on the broadcast. And it's on your screen, the draft as well. Luminosity on the purple side, Peru Unite on the orange. The bands have come through. Suicune, nothing new under the sun. Snorlax with a Charizard and a Latios. First pick is a Ho-Oh. It's just so powerful, right, Tiddly?
Yeah, it's a very powerful defender. It really just... It's that one and Snorlax that I always see, and they always come through no matter what team is playing them. It's just been consistent throughout the entire event.
One pick that has been shining quite a bit, there was a little bit of an underdog Draco. It was the Mamoswine, now picked for Peru.
Yeah, Mamoswine has just been a really strong defender. I think a lot of the defenders over the most recent balance patches have been tuned down, which allowed Pokemon or defenders like, for example, Suicune or Mamoswine to really shine in that defender role position. And right now we also have fairly high dive in terms of the Pokemon that are being selected. So like this Scyther or this Leafeon on the side of Peru and Mamoswine, if they are able to get an Ice Fang on any one of those Pokemon, that can literally change the game.
Yeah, and I was listening to Sprago saying, and Juice Next as well, we have, Kyle, a Buzzwole on this team. No Lucario. What are your thoughts?
I mean, Buzzwole is really good in the early game. It does kind of fall off a little bit on the later side, but if you get off to that early start that a lot of teams are really desperately going for, it's the perfect pick in that top lane. Plus, it's really good into Charizard. Obviously, Charizard banned, but I really do like Buzzwole in that top half.
Right, me too. Right, take it away, Casas, to finish up this draft, and we're getting ready for that game 3.
Thank you very much. Always cool seeing
Love
some of the
doing that.
casters that, of course, been on broadcast, members of the community, run through this draft. You and I were just talking about it a little bit. So happy to see the Blaziken instead of that
Dude.
Lucario. Very similar look, obviously, here from Peru. And I'm interested to see Crustle because I have not really seen this Pokemon too much from LG.
No, but we have seen teams like Nouns use it. It had a very solid showing day one as well to just kind of harass the other team. Another Pokemon that Slash kind of likes to defer to in this slot is like a Mr. Mime, right? With the walls, and you're just creating roadblocks all over the map. But the thing I'm most excited about is the change by LG from Cheeks Lucario to this Blaziken, because at least at the end of the day, you have an overheat. At least.
Yeah, I mean, I think Blaziken obviously does a lot better than Lucario as the match goes on. We talked about some good reasons that you might want to run it early, and I do think for a lot of these players, it's a comfort pick going a long ways back. And into most all teams out there, it would be totally fine, and you dominate them. But you're running into one of the best teams in the world right now, and it just doesn't look like it's up to snuff as we get ready for game number 3. All tied up between our two squads here. Luminosity, your purple team. Peru Unite, your orange team. This is a best of 5, so you're going to need to win 2 more of these to head to our grand finals, no matter which team you are.
I don't know if there's any merit to this, but I think I kind of would have liked to see Overlord swap with Curios and take it into the bottom path here. And because you're kind of squaring up against a Char Cadet, and you might have an opportunity to feel less pressure than when Anemo crashes in the top path and you have to play a little bit more safe. Now the switch that we did get, of course, is Otter is on the Ho-Oh now.
Yeah, and we can see Anemo trying to put some pressure on here in the top path. Obviously, they have a much better shot at securing a lot of this with that Leafeon up there. Trainer, however, making their way to the top path, already level 5, ready to fight. Overlord's going to need some help to get there.
Yeah, and you know, once it hits Combustion, at least it has the opportunity to drag members of the other team back across the map and help Trainer clean up the trash here.
Luminosity with an 81% win rate against Peru as everyone's crashing on this fight right now.
Now Slash is low on HP as they have a hyper over rotation. Whoever gets the KOs here is going to come out ahead. Trainer gets one. Everyone's low. Draken's trying to get out. They're on a sliver of HP. Otter's on the chase. They want this knockout. Overlord would have loved it too, but I think the damage has been done. Trainer getting the big time knockout is something they are ecstatic over.
Great fight from Luminosity right there, but I have to give it up to Peru. You know, obviously they could have lost so much more in that moment with that incredibly strong rotation from LG. As we head down to the bottom path right here, we can see Zainus now on the Armoroo, so they do have the level 5.
Otter's low on HP, going to try and drag Tempo's attention away from the Combustion here. But look at the window of opportunity that was opened up downstairs. The pressure of the Mega Mewtwo Y allows them to bully out and get some points in. Peru, seeing this as an opportunity, gets points in up top, and these score lines are staying static.
Yeah, not only are they getting some points in, right? These are 2 stacking Pokemon that are charging up that attack weight in an extreme way right now. Gonna make them very powerful for the next fight. Plus, I know we're really close to Leafeon hitting level 8, so they'll have a Unite move very soon. One of the greatest things about Leafeon is how it just gets everything 1 level earlier than most all of the Pokemon in the game.
Absolutely. We've got 7:25 on the clock. Rolling through is Overlord. We've got a 4v4. These teams really feel like they know each other as we have Zainus popping the fire wheel around them. Emerald two-step gets 2. A huge read out of Peru, and LG has to sit on pad and look at themselves saying, what just happened? Draken with a decent engage there as well.
I think LG needs to wake up right now.
Yep.
Because they thought this was going to be an easy matchup for Team Peru, especially after game number 1. But they are here to play, Doom Snacks. They are reacting, changing what they're doing based on LG, and having better games each time. Looking fantastic here as they're going to put the pressure on this goal zone. Trainer in the top path right here, just having a 1v1 with the Reggie Alecki as the scores are going in bottom.
I mean, it looks like Draken able to get past the Rock Tomb. Kea not so fortunate. However, the delay was not really worth much here, as Slash is still trying to babysit this bottom path. But look at Anemo is sitting in the central area of Luminosity, as Luminosity has the Regieleki hit, and they really need to whittle down this goal zone straight in. Here's Draken with a deep engage. Buzzwole Unite is out as well. They're on the backside. Otter is getting beat down, and now we just popped the Emerald two-step. Didn't really catch anyone, but it gives them enough sustain to keep pushing. Overlord goes down, Chaos Streak a 2 for Anemo, and now Trainer has to dual win beat 4 players. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Beautiful follow me, by the way, from Kea right there. That was perfect. Catching Overlord. They caught them in the tall grass, made sure they were not able to get out and pick up another KO. Peru in a powerful position right here. Zionist in some trouble, having to peel away from this fight. They might not be able to catch them.
That was just a win. Popping the Unite move, kind of that Mega Man-like shot, and able to run away without getting knocked out is just another ounce of value Peru was able to squeeze out of LG.
And we can see Clefable here in the tall grass, hanging out with an Emo. They move it with a massive Emerald two-step, pick it up 2, continuing to run through Luminosity. The Mewtwo Y Unite back the other way. They get another with a Hyper Beam.
Golly, Tempo beating up Slash with Draken in tow. They're putting tons of damage on, and now we're Rebel rousing. Slash trying to X-Scissor through, replaces 2. Trainer is trying to get in there and cause some damage. The goal zone stays at 2. The Razor Leaf is pulled back in. Rock Tomb is down, actually boxing out Trainer. The pressure continues. Otter's flamethrowering down, and now we've got 5-ish seconds till a basement Reggie.
Yeah, we do have the Unite move from the Ho-Oh, right? Otter has that rekindling flame, able to bring the team back here in this fight. Peru is looking to make them use it as they push towards this Reg Ice. Actually, just allowing Anemo to score and not engaging.
Valuing the 26 over cap and the score lead here, over 100 for Peru, and I like that call. Safely get your Leafeon's pockets empty and get yourself in a strong lead.
Here we have Anemo just seeing if they could steal away any of this right here, continuing to put some pressure on. Tempo getting X-Scissored into the wall right there by Slash. Nice little catch, Kea in the Rock Tomb as they peel up towards Regieleki. No one from either team starting it just yet.
Yeah, we can't have Overlord and Otter walk into another ambush by Anemo, right? They have the two-step again. They've done it twice already for 2 packs. Bang, Slash repositioned, and that draws the attention away, which means the flank for the two-step is there. They're finally able to dodge one, but the Buzzwole Unite is out, and it does get a knockout on Slash. Now Otter's got to get into the mix. Maybe it's time for that rekindling flame, but no, they go down before it's used.
Wow, I mean, Peru is so in this series, it's incredible.
Love seeing
Up
it.
against Luminosity right here. 115-222 as they take another objective. This is going to walk towards LG, but it looks like Peru recognizes there's a lot that they need to do on the map. Luminosity trying to make a counter push in the bottom path here, but it looks like Peru has snuffed that out. They're pushing them back away from this goal zone.
Nice little box out position here. Just their presence is enough for Luminosity to leave. They have so much wild Pokemon on their side of the map. I'd go farm that up.
Yeah, there is a lot that they need to get right now. Overlord doing well, level-wise, almost level 13. Same thing on the other side, we've got the level 13 from the Leafeon here. Level-wise, this match is quite close, but Peru with a positional advantage, a goal zone advantage, and they have a great setup here for this bottom Reggie if they decide to fight near it. But it actually looks like they're going to make a sneaky play and possibly score top.
Yeah, if LG's taking quick inventory of who's here, they kind of know that there's a presence for Peru. They're trying to suss it out. Big time back cap here. So now they know that they get this Regirock for free. You immediately see LG pivoting to try and get these points in because nobody's going to be there to stop them. And although they are still behind, at least they're trying to keep that gap as small as possible.
The Regirock buff is going to be really nice heading into Rayquaza right here, but you got to give it up to Peru, putting more points on the scoreboard, basically taking a play out of LG's book. This is what Luminosity loves to do, is walk into Ray with enough of a lead where your opponents need to make a decision. That allows them to make some big mistakes that you can capitalize on. Now Peru is in that spot. With this massive score lead right here, Luminosity is going to need to find a good fight instead of the other way around. 3 seconds until Rayquaza. We have Peru just trying to figure out where Luminosity is. Anemo running around the side, seeing if they can move in for a fight, while we have Overlord chipping at Rayquaza. No one's starting the engagement just yet. Leafeon waiting for the perfect moment.
I think they know where Overlord is, but the call hasn't been made just yet. We're trying to get somebody to focus in the wrong way so they can pounce. They still don't know where. And Otter just found a Nemo. That's actually a big sight. Now they have full information right now, Sprague.
Beautiful information here. Slash up into the air. They decide not to move forward with this fight here, but Mewtwo is Mega.
Big
Here's the
rumble
Unite
around.
move.
Huge X Scissor into the Rock 2 follow-up Scissor or Unite is out. And immediately Dragon is dealt with.
Whoa!
4 players in an instant. LG took the fight. Anemo's the only one left standing. Emerald two-step does catch one, but the chase is on. Rekindling Flame pops up and gets back Trainer. Rayquaza's going to be LG's, but they still need to close that score gap. However, plate full of burgers right in front of them.
Look at that delete button from Luminosity. The Crustal Unite with the eject button, pushing them forward into the team, stunning them, then into that X Scissor, and that was it for them. Luminosity just ran through the entirety of Peru. Peru in a beautiful position before that fight, but LG played Rayquaza incredibly. Still though, 433, 324, but with multiple members of Peru still down, it looks like LG is going to be able to continue scoring.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the shields are looking like. Crustle certainly has theirs as well. Getting more points in 601, 324, 25 seconds left. I think this one's done for as Peru is rinsed here in game 3. Again, Otter Slash coming through.
Yeah.
You talked about the Rock Tomb X's or Gargantuan, but something that doesn't show up on any stat sheet anywhere was the Otter flamethrowing into the bush and finding an Emo, which gives their whole team every ounce of information they need. That allows Slash to go in because the delete button for Peru was so far away. That was a clean engagement. I mean, these two teams are fun to watch.
This is probably the best series we've seen between these two squads. Peru putting LG through their paces right here. LG behind in that game, needing to make a massive play. But this is why they have won every international event they have been to this season. When they are together, under, the big lights on the big stage, they play better than basically any team in the game. They are now one game away from your grand finals. Again.
Don't forget, grand finals at the World Championships again. Looking for that three-peat here as we take a look at replays from game 3.
Yeah, beautiful game here from Peru. A lot of huge moments for them, and it really felt like this was their game to lose, and unfortunately for them, they did. This was that nice moment where the follow me found Overlord in the bush. A lot of big fights out of Peru, using Leafeon exactly how it needs to be, which is to put insane amounts of pressure on early and give the team a nice advantage. Unfortunately, as we head towards the end of the match right here, you can see this is the moment where they caught them with that Unite with the eject button. Mewtwo Unite, by the way, right on top of it, just to make sure that they were continually stunned in that moment. Unfortunately, Leafeon at level 14 really doesn't compare to some of the other speedsters at that level. MVP, once again, Trainer on the Scyther.
Trainer on the Scyther, of course. I mean, if you want a masterclass of how to operate in a Ray fight and seeing the opportunity and seizing it, you have it right there. Otter gets the last piece of information that LG was missing. Where is Anemo, who had been honestly laying traps and exploding them over and over again? And then they have that monster Rock Tomb X Scissor, Scyther Unite, Mewtwo Y Unite. Everybody's gone, and what can Anemo do at that point? Not much.
Yeah, and here we go, heading into our next game. They are banning out the Leafeon. I think that makes a lot of sense here. They do not want to see Peru with this Pokemon. They have clearly gotten it online. They are ready. They don't want to see Anemo put that pressure on anymore, put them too far behind in the last match. We've got Charizard, Latios banned on the other side, Snorlax, and Leafeon. First pick over here to Luminosity, and Peru lost that last game, so they could have taken the opportunity for the first pick, but they didn't want to. They're going to take the next 2 picks. Luminosity locking in Suicune.
I love this for LG. I think that's a great reaction and a good read on what Peru is trying to limit, what they're trying to do. Luminosity taking the pole position here, up a game in our semifinals to try and qualify for the grand finals. However, this was Peru in a unique situation. Draken has to nab the Ho-Oh now, otherwise they know it's going on the side of Luminosity, and we have the Scyther in play.
I mean, this is pretty great for Peru. They were able to take Ho-Oh and Scyther. These are two picks that Luminosity has been doing very well with. However, we have a steal back the other way, saying, all right, fine, you get the Scyther, you get the Ho-Oh.
Yep.
We are going to take this Armarouge away because it is so dang difficult for us to deal with, and Curios wants to keep using Mewtwo. Why? Curios feels like silently just continuing to carry through the matches, all of the auto attacks, all of the damage from Mewtwo. I don't know what to say about this. I gotta say I love to see it. I can't wait to see what happens with Cram. 14% pick rate? Where have I been?
Not watching these games, just like me apparently. Zainu's grabbing Cran with confidence, by the way. That was just boom, it's on, it's locked in. Let's press A on these guys. Tempo rounding out this draft with a potential gutter pick Blaziken. And then we have to assess what we got going on in this draft, brother. And I can't say that I only have my eyes on Cramorant right now.
Yeah, I mean, Cram is the most interesting thing in this draft, obviously. The other interesting thing about this is their tournament is on the line. The World Championships are on the line right now, and they are putting their energy behind the bird. I don't know what to say about it. I want to see it do well. I want to see us go to a Game 5 right here. This is very unexpected.
Listen, fortune favors the bold. LG, with their tournament life on the line, queued up a score comp and managed to muscle out Nouns from this tournament. Peru, kind of doing this, not to that extreme, obviously, but like trying something new, or at least maybe going into a pocket pick, going into a unique strategy that maybe Luminosity isn't too familiar with, and trying to create some of their own magic here.
Interestingly enough, we've got a focus band on the Cramorant. Okay, we're moving some items around right here. We had a focus band. We moved that around for a buddy barrier to give you a little more sustain during that Unite move. Really powerful Unite from Cram, especially if you're able to use it aggressively. I think people often use Cramorant's Unite move in a defensive way when you're defending a goal zone or something like that. But I love seeing some early damage going to an enemy team. Cram getting really aggressive and zoning out an entire area and picking up some KOs at the same time. I cannot wait to see how they play it. And obviously for them, it needs to be great because this could be their final game. Luminosity, your purple team, up 2 games in our best of 5 to 1 game from Peru, your orange team. The winner of this match, if it is LG, moves on to the grand finals once again.
The bottom path, we've got 2 good early Pokemon on each side of the board here as they're jockeying for position, trying to get some contestable farm and get that early advantage.
Yeah, and here we go. Zainu's just trying to bully out Slash, push them away from some of this so that they can get a secure right here, and they do. They are able to secure that. Obviously, they have a much easier job than securing on the other side. We see Otter and Overlord in the top path, trying to get all of their experience, get Overlord to that 5. Anemo not able to make a KO happen as Trainer's actually playing that Armarouge in the central area.
Yeah, I mean, get past Charcadet into Armarouge, and maybe we'll see something else spin into the middle. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't necessarily matter. What they were able to do, though, is react well to a changeup from Peru. And now, well, those birds didn't last but a moment here, but it's enough. 3v2, they're putting the pressure on. Zynus has to fade backwards. Draken is trying to get some space, but at least some points are going to go in for Luminosity. The counter punch on top, though, for Peru, not successful.
Yeah, Peru not able to make much happen in the top path. LG, the only point scored. A Scyther's coming down here to the bottom path. Looks like they were trying to catch it, but they're caught.
That was, they had no idea. They absolutely walked into the guillotine that is Luminosity Gaming, hiding out in that L bush.
And here we have the top path. Tempo continuing to score. Level 6 now, outpacing the Buzzwole in the top path. So they're still doing well up there. You know, Zacian obviously able to put a lot of pressure on your opponents early, and the Buzzwole is behind because of that. However, level 5 is extremely powerful on Buzz.
Without a doubt. Rolling back up top, Otter trying to get some vision, contesting over the 8-minute birds in the middle. Over-pressurized is Peru here with more players. Tempo on the backside, good damage on Otter, but not enough for a KO quite yet.
Yeah, Otter obviously able to use that light screen in a really impressive way, create some distance right there and peel away from that fight. Tempo, if they were left to their devices, would just be able to rip through them with that damage from Zacian. As we are getting ready for another fight in the top path, again, Buzzwell's still only level 5, so they have been able to take a lot of experience away from the all-rounder in the top path.
Yeah, that's terrific, and you can't forget that Peru is trying to get, okay, going right back in. Overlord is low, light screen creates separation and space, and now Tempo can't convert on the knockout. Tempo's low on HP, but we're back under the verge. Reposition is a Nemo and knocked out by the E-Ball from Otter. Zynus is getting low. The Cramorant doesn't have enough in the tank. E-Ball right after they step on pad, so they survive.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to send Cramorant back, get some HP. As we have Luminosity looking to take this objective, Peru is planning to either fight or defend it right here. Zynus moving forward, trying to get a KO on Curios.
Yeah, I mean, good damage on Curios. Regieleki kind of going uncontested. E-Ball secure. We'll see if the follow-up is actually real. Meanwhile, we have Suicune downstairs just keeping an eye out, seeing what's going on with Peru. Regieleki hits pretty easily, and I mean, that goal zone's gone, right? They didn't care what the overcap was. They're going to keep this push continuing, at least showing signs that they might.
Yeah, and they were able to take a good fight in the bottom path, take that objective. Now they have that Regirock buff, so they didn't give up everything in the top path there, but the goal zone is gone as Luminosity is looking to pounce on Peru.
Oh, they set the trap, and it can't quite get triggered there. Peru sensing something's up, just fade away and aren't willing to play ball. Nemo, though, lurking in the shadows, looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, as we only have one member of Luminosity down here, and we are moving forward right now, trying to take this goal zone. Here comes Curios to try to defend.
Perfect timing, Mega Mewtwo Y. They're going to lay in a ton of damage. And Nemo's at half HP. Here comes Trainer to clean up the trap, popping the Scyther Unite, but it's not enough. And now we continue. Zynus is beat down, just picking up the rubber chicken by the legs and smacking it to the earth. Yeah. Scoring points, 146 to 43. They're up by 100, and they are humming, my boy.
Yeah, here we go. Nice 2 points, getting that goal as close as it possibly can be for a big overcap, 181-43. We have the Unite move from Cramorant. We did have it in that last fight, but they weren't able to use it before they were KO'd. One difficult thing that Peru has to deal with is Suicune. Unbelievably powerful, setting up moments where they just can't seem to fight them. And Trainer now getting a massive level lead here with the Armarouge. Almost level 11 right now, and the higher and higher this thing gets, the more difficult it's going to be for Peru to take it down.
Decent attempt there by Peru, but it's not enough, as Otter does a decent job with the Surf, setting up Overlord for a 2-piece.
Yeah, Otter's Mew is unbelievable. I mean, he's playing it in such a fantastic way. He just sets up so many plays for the team, so difficult to take this thing down. Overlord maybe overextending here, but being saved by the squad.
I mean, great Mewtwo Y Unite, good reaction time by Luminosity, and the fact that Overlord gets out of that is just cherry on top of the sundae. Otter just keeping an eye. I don't think they're going to contest too hard, just do their best with the light screens and everything that Mew has in their kit. Buys some time, but not quite enough, as Luminosity gives it up and starts pushing top.
Nice score here from Peru in that bottom path, though, and they're going to get this objective. However, this Regieleki, no. Beautiful defense here in this top path. Looks like everything is good for Peru. They might be able to get the secure of this Regirock. However, Slash down in that bottom path, really trying to stop this Scyther right here. We're going to see if they are able to get it. Unite move from Slash in that bottom path right there, but no, it is secured by Peru.
Yeah, and Nemo taking a ton of damage. Here comes Curios to try and help them out. They are successful. Meanwhile, Otter was sitting on top, preventing that Hoopa from getting any points in. Everybody bases, take a deep breath. We're in the mid game.
We are 181-144. Again, Peru is on the ropes right now. They need this, or they are going to be going home. Their chance of winning World Championship once again will be stopped at that 5-yard line. They just can't seem to make it all the way to the grand finals. Luminosity, however, this is not, unfamiliar for them. They take a lot of teams to moments like this. They're able to take them down throughout this entire season. They have had the best run that any team in the Unite Championship Series has ever had. And they want to cement that with their World Championship victory. In front of them is Peru, ahead here in this game. In the next 3 minutes, they could be locking in their grand finals appearance.
I'll tell you what, there's two groups of people that have won NAIC, LAIC, and EUIC, but no one has won those three and the World Championships in one season. Luminosity trying to set the record straight one more time this year.
Yeah, and of course they would have to run into what looks like the unstoppable Zeta division out of Japan. But before we get to all that, before Championship Sunday, we still have another match of Pokemon Unite to finish right here. Maybe two if Peru can pull out a victory. Hopefully they can make something happen with this Cramorant. I feel like it's been a bit of a non-factor in this match compared to maybe some of the other picks they could have brought in. But we're heading towards a Rayquaza fight. Peru is behind, but they have a lot of ways to win this thing.
A lot of great tools, you know, Zacian can secure, so does Luminosity, however, and we've got 10 seconds. Overlord's just marching forward. They know where Zainuz is. It looks like it's kind of a bait for a reposition.
Yeah, and here we go. We actually have Peru looking to score here in this bottom path. Luminosity is up, but by under 100 points, and I don't think LG wants to rip Ray right now, but they are moving forward, trying to find Peru.
That was huge. Mewtwo Unite to stop the Scyther score and delay them being able to get back into the mix. They might be able to pick up Zainuz. Zainuz is low on HP. You wanted to pick up a target there. The portal is down. The reset is still existing. Hoopa has their Unite as well.
I don't know. I think this play was great for Peru, actually, as we have a member of Luminosity going down as well.
Whoa.
So LG is just waiting right now while Peru is up 257-201. Here comes the Hoopa Unite move, and they're going for Ray.
Rayquaza's getting shredded. We've got Cram just gulping the missiles and shooting them out in the side. And Peru takes it, and they're going to push this thing to a Game 5. What a play by Peru. Luminosity thought they had the angles covered, but alas, they did not. And Peru is pushing this Luminosity team for the limit for the first time that these two teams have squared off.
We are heading to a game number 5. You know, Cramorant with the triple KO right there. Beautiful plays from Peru after they got that catch in the Rayquaza pit. But a lot of this, Doobsnack, is because of Hoopa. Hoopa allowing multiple members of Peru to peel off. They were allowing the Scyther to go score. They were allowing Cramorant to head back to base. At any time, they could all be brought back through because of that Unite move. 40 seconds left on the clock. LG is going to try to make something happen right here, but they are so far behind on the scoreboard, they would need to wipe the entirety of Peru off the map. All Peru really needs to do right now is not get KO'd by not have every single member of their team KO'd.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy box to check here, especially when you're getting knockouts on the fly. Peru Unite rebounding well against the two-time world champions in Luminosity Gaming, and now we are going to a Game 5.
That's right. This is a Game 5. One more match between these two squads. One of them will head to our grand finals. The Cramorant pick, this crazy, chaotic attacker pick that you don't see much in the tournaments these days, all of a sudden pulls off a huge victory here and takes us to the closest series between these two squads all year.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen great value out of the Cram Unite, right? It was kind of being used, scattershot here and there, setting it up right in the middle of the Ray pit when your team's going straight for it, forcing Luminosity could then, because you just put a bunch of points in. Great look.
Yeah, this was pretty incredible here. Luminosity had a really strong game throughout most of this. In fact, it really wasn't until sort of that final 2 minutes, 30 seconds that things started to come together for Peru.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back, I thought the Unite was clever. The Mewtwo Y Unite was clever to stop the score, and I think what Kyrios was thinking is that as soon as they went to score, the rings would go unbound, so they would be able to stop them and have them either have to decide to come through or score. But the Hoopa Unite was sandbagged just long enough so they could get the value, and Anemo getting the nod as MVP. Scizor has never been on our screen this much, ever.
It's true. You know, it was stolen away by LG, and it looks like that was actually a pretty huge steal, right? Because this is a comfort pick for the side of Peru, and they play very well with it. I think the one Pokemon I did not expect to see at all, of course, Cramorant making its way into this match, having an incredible fight at Rayquaza. It did do a lot of damage. It had a beautiful knock-up on that Hurricane right into its Unite move as we are heading in to our final draft. First ban from Luminosity is going to be the Ho-Oh over to Peru. It's the Charizard. Now Suicune banned out by LG. Final ban here for Peru. A lot can be decided in our draft. These drafts have actually looked pretty similar to each other.
They have.
But we've seen some evolution as we've gone on. Peru getting better and better and better as this series has continued.
Snorlax pick early here out of Slash, trying to force Peru into making some weird and unique picks. We see Ho-Oh band, Suicune band, both of those are out. Charizard and Latios. Peru has not changed up their bands at all so far. They are very comfortable with where they're at, or at least they're pretending to be. What is Peru Unite going to do in this moment? We wait with bated breath.
Yeah, it's really the question here. How do they want to play it? And they do end up taking the Scyther, as well as we're cycling through, seeing what they want. They take the Crustle.
Okay.
Interesting pick right here. Man, this is something that they knew Luminosity was going to try to bring out in this game. However, with the Snorlax already chosen, I kind of doubt it. Maybe hiding a few picks for later in the draft.
Yeah, I believe so. Blissey, Mewtwo, Y. We're just seeing just high octane picks. However, there is, I'm taking a quick inventory, and no, we wouldn't go that direction. So Tempo and Zainus is really where this thing is given texture here, which way they go. Quickly grabbed is the Zacian, and Zainus switching with Kea to give them the Hoopa, which honestly, like you said last game, difference maker.
I love this draft so far from Peru. It feels like the strongest that they have had. I think the Crustle is a great pick. I think their Hoopa play was pretty fantastic. Deciding to take the Leafeon here for Luminosity, that could be really interesting. Trainer's Leafeon is unbelievable. Overlord back on the Blaziken, which feels like a really strong choice for him. Final pick now over to Peru.
Zainus hovering the Blastoise here. Buzzwole nowhere to be found, let it be known. Before it was hotly contested. Now it's on the sideline. Blastoise rounds out this draft. And Luminosity going with just pure power. I don't know if there's any collective synergy here, right? They're just going best kind of in class almost.
Yeah.
On the other side of Peru, lots of comfort, a lot of things we've seen success with. You know, you're talking about the Scyther, you're talking about the Hoopa. Of course, the Crustle from Draken is a unique look here for at least our semifinals. We're in game 5. This could go tit for tat here, back and forth without a doubt.
I'm really excited about this draft. I mean, we're seeing some really interesting changes between these two squads. It's interesting that earlier Luminosity in their game against Nouns was ready to throw a score comp at them, but against Peru, I think they want to take these fights. They feel pretty confident against this squad, and outside of kind of how wild Rayquaza went for them last match, I think they had a great game against them. But Peru is throwing some different looks here in our final game. Game number 5 between these two squads.
This is the closest Peru has ever been to beating Luminosity on the big stage. Is today their day? Is Anaheim their place?
Game number 5. Luminosity, your purple team. Peru Unite, your orange team. One game separates these two teams from the grand finals and championship Sunday tomorrow. Can Peru break the curse? Can they take down the giants that are LG? Or will Luminosity be one step closer to their perfect season?
Trainer needs to hold it down in the top path versus 2. Yes, Leafeon is good early, but it's tough in the face of these two Pokemon. Quick little engagement by Tempo, backs right back out. Knocked out is Curios.
Yeah, here we go. Nice little KO right there. As we see them moving forward, Anemo looking for another KO right here. The Combuskin coming online for Luminosity.
They needed that one early, right? They committed that rotation. If Overlord doesn't get that, they're in a very difficult spot here in the early stages.
We can see Trainer hiding in the tall grass, but they're going to be found by the Hoopa right now. A lot of information over to the side of Peru. A lot of experience here over to the side of Peru, as well as they pick up the KO on Combuskin.
Oh boy, the Rock Tomb Trap sets up 2 more to get knocked down. Draken looking good on that Crustle early.
But here we go, just continuing this push right here, looking for another one on Curious, but Trainer punishing them for that moment. Overextension there by Peru and giving up a lot of XP.
I like that bait out of Curios, playing a little bit what looked like too far forward, and immediately as soon as Anemo goes in, you see the Leafeon engage, clean up that knockout, and exactly what they were looking for here.
Slash here in this bottom path, just putting some pressure towards their opponents. 8 seconds now until we have a fight here in the center. Still Combustion, not exactly where they want to be, right? As we see Slash trying to push them away from this portal. They head back. Anemo looking for the KO. Meanwhile, all the experience over to Luminosity.
That was really well done. If they can get out without getting knocked out, that's going to be huge. The chase continues, and there you see the strength of the Rock Tomb. They're going to get a BOGO deal, 2 for 1. The Rock Tomb is getting full. Lots of bodies in that mausoleum.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there as Peru moves forward for this fight. Nice heavy slam there by Slash, trying to slow them down from scoring long enough for Curios to get there, but it did not work. Anemo now picking up some points, missing with the dual wing beat, having to peel away from this goal. Zyno's still level 6, not yet a Blastoise, still a War Turtle here in the bottom path.
Yeah, Curios right there. If they would have overstepped, Draken ready to set the trap, screening off from those birds. So Luminosity's going to take the ones up top.
And we can see Otter here with the Egg Bomb. We saw how potent that was earlier in the match against Nouns. Obviously, this is a soft-boiled Egg Bomb. Blissey able to provide a lot of healing to the squad, as well as some huge, secure, disruptive moments.
Yeah, and a Blissey kind of a strong pick in Hoopa, right? We've seen Egg Bomb prevent portal resets over and over and over again, and that might be a critical component here in this Game 5. Stepping up, overheat, taken by the Zacian out from under the nose of Luminosity.
Beautiful play there from Peru as they're able to get that steal, and now they're looking for a fight in this goal zone. Nice red ice buff as well as they possibly move in here. This being ripped apart very quickly by LG.
Trying to trap Trainer again, and now Overlord kind of gets sawed out with the spin pump coming out from the Blastoise, and that's 3 players down again. Luminosity is looking in dire straits right now.
Yeah, Luminosity having some trouble right here, but they do stop them from scoring. 34 points, 145 for Peru, as they're scoring on the Tier 2 goal zone with Scyther. Things going pretty well for them, but Luminosity does have some strong scaling Pokemon that are now online. It takes a while for that Blaziken to get good. Now it's level 9. It is well within range of being able to carry in some huge ways. However, on the other side, a level 11 Zacian and a level 9 Blastoise. Blastoise finally here.
I mean, Blastoise is going to be a problem, right? A good Hydro Typhoon is going to spell disaster for Luminosity. They need to play this very smart moving forward. A little bit of scaling in Blaziken, but I think the better end boss is Blastoise.
Yeah, level-wise, things are good for Peru. They've got the pressure on their opponents right here. Luminosity absolutely on the back foot as we are about halfway through our final match of our semifinals. I don't think a lot of people would have guessed that we would be heading to a Game 5 right now between these two squads, especially, as Overlord mentioned, if history were to repeat itself, it'd probably take them down in 3 or 4, but Peru is here to fight. Peru is here to prove something.
Yeah, Peru, though, in uncharted waters. Let's see if they can close the door with this lead that they've built so far in the first 5 minutes.
We got 2 objectives spawning, right? The top and bottom path right here at about the same time. The nice thing for Peru, with Hoopa at level 9, they can always bring the team up as soon as they need them, using this portal to bring the team down to the bottom path right here. Actually send 2 up to take Reggie Alecki.
The big time hot swap. Kea goes down, the rest of the team goes up. Registeel is going to be down, and you have the Rings Unbound to protect the goal zone. What is LG going to do? Are they going to collapse and let Curios defend up top by themselves? They are. Rings are in fact unbound. You can't pretend like you aren't surprised that that's happening. And finally, 2 players roll through. Curios pressing down the other way and dealing good damage, but not finding a knockout.
Nice plays here by Peru, right? They were able to get the scores they wanted in the top path. They weren't able to get the objective in the bottom path, but they're way up right now, and they knew that at any moment they could bring the team down using Hoopa, so Luminosity was not able to push this goal zone. However, now that that Hoopa Unite is gone, it looks like they are mobilizing.
Yeah, well, okay, Rock Tomb is out, blocked back the other way. Kea opening up the hyperspace highway between the top and bottom path here as players are rolling through. Back up is Draken, trying to figure out what's going on here as Luminosity is laying some traps.
Yeah, Luminosity looking to spring a trap right here as they're moving towards this Blastoise, trainer waiting to see if anyone is moving through the tall grass, but with that hyperspace highway, they don't really need to.
Right.
And it looks like Luminosity is just going to have to peel away. A lot of experience on their side of the map that they are going to need for some later fights. Down right now by almost 200 points. Luminosity in some trouble right here, but all of this XP is going to be great for them.
Yeah, 199 points separate these two squads. Experience is critical, but that score line's got to make you nervous.
Yeah, very much so. Even if they're able to get Rayquaza, if they're only able to put a couple of full dunks in there, they'd be up by a single point, which means Peru could peel off and score and make a lot of different plays. And we've seen them be very aggressive with these at Ray, especially with Hoopa on their side. It gives them this ability, so they might be up by more than 200 when you really think about the math there.
That's without a doubt. Already staging, already gathering information are these two squads, and it looks like Luminosity sees their route to victory through the basement Reggie. Heavy slam by Slash on the backside. A trainer using the Emerald two-step and finding a KO. How are they going to adjust off this? Running his trainer to try and flank to see who they can catch. Registeel's getting worked on. Slash with the heavy slam block combo right on the backside of a rock tube. We've got 20 seconds till Ray with the Leafy on Unite missing.
Wow, Leafy on Unite is gone, but they're scoring in the top path, bringing them up to 86 points. They will not have their Unite move, but they do have this massive Registeel buff as they are gathering around this central area here. And Nemo coming back, huge heavy slam by Slash, pushing them forward with the block. However, they're going to head back through the hyperspace hole and reset.
The portal being down early is big. Can they find a KO before it comes up? Respawn, Rayquaza's getting worked on. Straight into the middle. Hydro Typhoon kicks up, and Nemo's low. U2Y Unite, Rayquaza's on a slip. Peru Unite takes it! Peru Unite takes it! This is Peru's moment! They're going to score! They're up by 150 points, and it's going to get even bigger as Luminosity Gaming is going to get bucked out of this competition. 3-peat is no longer a reality for them. Peru Unite looking to wear the crown for the first time as they march on down to Sunday's competition.
Peru finally able to vanquish Luminosity here where it matters most. At Worlds in the semifinals, game number 5 of this best of 5. Peru never out of this thing, continuing to push forward throughout this competition. And Luminosity, the dream of the perfect season, is gone. They were not able to stop the team that they have stopped multiple times throughout this season. With 1 minute left, they are trying to push the final push towards this goal zone, but it looks like there just aren't enough points. LG knocked out of this competition.
A heroic season out of LG, but every hero must be replaced, and Peru Unite is more than happy to wear that mantle as they run to the middle to start doing their reset stylization, take the picture, make a pose for the camera. You did it, my friends, you did it.
Peru makes their way to the center of the map. A moment that has been a long time coming. Since they won AOS Cup seasons ago and set themselves up for Worlds, they were looked at as one of the best teams to play Unite. And they have never been this close to getting that victory and that Grand Finals championship. They are heading tomorrow to Grands.
Well done. You know, for kind of what seemed to be their Achilles heel in Luminosity Gaming, they finally figured it out. They stayed true to themselves. They played straight up, heads up Pokemon Unite, small adjustments to find their way to win in their own style. Tip of the cap to one of the best.
Peru on the precipice of becoming the first winner from LATAM. So close, taking down Luminosity, the favorite to win this entire competition. LG, one of their hardest adversaries throughout the entire season. I know this team plays against each other a lot as well. They know each other very well. I think a lot of people would have expected LG to be in this position, but what a moment for Peru.